Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm David. And we are talking about some rumors for Big Brother 22. We got to do it. They're all over the place.
Big Brother 22 updates and rumors. Let's do it. But first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up.
And if you want to support us on Patreon, there is a link in the description to do so. All right,
yes.
Sarah.
David,
I need
when
some
was the
actual information.
When did we do our first BB22, like Dreamcast rumors?
Has it been like a month already?
It feels like it's been a month that we have been talking about all of this.
Yeah.
Speculating, and we still have no announcement from CBS.
And I got to say, like, we haven't been talking about it nearly as much as the rest of the BB fandom. Like some people are putting out rumor videos, like it feels like once every 2 days. And because they're just, you know, there's so many names in Big Brother history, and it feels like every single name has like flown across some website, some video. Like everybody's talking about everybody at this point. It is hard to keep track of all the names that everybody's throwing out and who's supposedly.
Well, let me tell you how to keep track. It's everyone. They've talked about everyone.
It's literally everybody.
It's everybody. If you have played Big Brother before, your name has been mentioned.
Yeah, then you are rumored to be returning to over BB22.
No, I saw a Twitter user who put together a spreadsheet. I mean, the speculation and the talk is out of control. And I just can't keep up with it because I don't believe half of it.
I know. Like people are talking. Some people will talk about like, this one is 100% confirmed. And I'm like, nothing is 100% confirmed until CBS announces it, folks. Like no matter how much you want to be the first, who knew that, you know, Dan was 100% coming back this season. You don't know until CBS announces it.
Guess what? You don't know. Now, we can kind of decode a couple things just because we work in production and we understand a little bit of how it works behind the scenes. So I do want to say, just because a former house guest has been invited and reached out to by casting doesn't mean it's official. So casting is going to reach out and they're going to be like, hey, former house guest, we're going to do returning players this season. Are you interested? Are you available? Whatever. And they're like, yes, I'd love to go on. And they're like, great. Let me go ahead and get you to sign an NDA. Let me get you to sign some paperwork. And then you sit and wait. And they don't say 100% you are in. They leave it so open and loosey-goosey.
Yeah.
And so even though some former house guests are like, yeah, they invited me back, it's still not official to them.
Yeah. And I'm like shrugging my shoulders being like, yeah, this happens all the time. But I forget that like some people legitimately don't understand that that's like how it works. But like production companies have to leave things vague and open-ended because they want the opportunity to change their mind at any point. They are not going to commit to any contestant 100%. That would be silly because they want options. Like the casting process is like almost an art, you know. They like have to really think about like what kinds of personalities are going to pair well together and what makes the most compelling television. So they want the chance to swap out anybody at any time. And we have heard so many times in the past, I feel like I've heard these stories more so for Survivor than I have for Big Brother.
But they're classic with this.
You know, cast members were supposed to come back and they got swapped out at the last minute. You know, like these things.
They'll even fly them to Fiji. They think they're going on the season. And then they're like, nah. Amber decided to come with Rob this season. So we don't need you anymore.
Right.
Legit.
And it happened in Heroes versus Villains. Like they swapped Russell in last minute and somebody else lost their chance to play in Heroes versus Villains because they wanted to do that last minute swap. So regardless of what you've heard about who signed what or been promised what, nothing has actually been promised by CBS to any contestant at this point, not until there is an official cast announcement.
Yeah. Okay. We are going to go into some of the cast, most notably Dan. You've already brought up Dan, but let's just touch base on what we do know for sure. We know that they have started construction on the Big Brother house.
Yes. That and it is the same house.
Exactly. There was some speculation, like, are they going to go to Fiji? Are they going to go somewhere else? Like, how do they make this work? They are sticking with stage 15, is it? I forget.
I think, yeah. But it's on the CBS Radford lot.
We've been there multiple times. CBS Radford lot, that stage is being built up. They're getting ready for it. But production doesn't fully know how to shoot in the time of COVID-19.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, you have to understand that like construction is a completely different industry than production, right? So construction is considered like an essential service in COVID-19. Like there are still things, construction workers have been working the whole time. So you can send construction people in to work on a studio lot. It's like a different thing than sending a production team in because production is not considered essential. So CBS is still very much negotiating, trying to get on, trying to like make deals with unions and get everything ironed out there. There's like a lot of contracts and legal things that they're going to have to get ironed out. And that's going to take time. Yeah.
That's the thing is like California has given the go ahead for production to start. But because this is so new and foreign, all the little unions and all the little groups are like, okay, well, we need it to be this way for our editors and we need it to be this way for our producers. Like everyone's got different rules. And you got to think about like, yes, the house guests are going to be basically quarantined, but a producer, at least one producers deliver food into their pantry.
Yes.
A crew of producers build games in the backyard. Like this is all places where people touch, not to mention there's a control room full of people who are making decisions on what the show is going to look like. And they have to figure out how that works.
Right.
So yay, glad they're trying to figure it out, but we're not there yet.
And thrilled that like, you know, the state's willing to like let him go back into production. We all want Big Brother to come back. We all want like fresh, new, shiny entertainment on our TVs. But guess what? Studios and networks have teams of lawyers who are worried about liability issues. And so regardless of the governor saying like, yeah, go back into production, there are so many people who are like, we have to do this right. And just because the governor says like, go ahead and do it doesn't mean that we're necessarily ready because they are going to do everything they can to make sure they don't have anybody coming to sue them for catching COVID. You know, like there's a lot of liability that
insurance.
They want to avoid. Yeah.
The insurance on productions is like totally crazy now. Productions have always had to have insurance, but now it's like extra layers of insurance and they're figuring all of that out. I do feel, David, what's your opinion? I do feel that they're going to do everything they can to get it going because they basically lose money if they don't get the show up and running.
I know. I mean, unfortunately, one of the things we have been seeing lately is this sort of culture that a lot of people feel is profit before people. And so I think that CBS studios all over Hollywood are just bleeding money because they can't put out new movies, new TV shows, any kind of content, you know? And so economically, it's in the network and the studio's best interest to get some new things out there. So I think that's why we're seeing this like prioritization from CBS of a show like Big Brother. It's a show they realistically feel like they can accomplish.
Could do it. Yeah.
You know, in a quarantine situation, it's much more difficult to get scripted shows back on the air. But a reality show like Big Brother, okay, we think we can do this. So like, I do think that CBS is working their hardest to make this happen. But I think it's just
so I feel like I think it was Cody who was like, it's never going to happen. Like the way you produce this is just, you're not going to be able to figure it out. And I'm like, that's just assuming that studios don't want to make money. Like they're going to figure out how to do it because that's their job to figure it out. But it just might take some time. I mean, unfortunately, our numbers in Los Angeles County are terrifying.
Not good.
David and I are locked in our homes.
I've been here. Everybody. I've been right here.
Because these numbers are out of control. So yes, I have high hopes that production's going to figure this out, but I'm also terrified that in a couple of weeks the numbers are going to be so high that production gets shut down again.
So we are at a point in, you know, the loosening of restrictions that Sarah and I could be in the same room shooting our little show together, but we're not because like the situation is not good, you know? So I just think that like there are 1,000 times more considerations that CBS has to take into account to get Big Brother back on the air. So I don't think initially, like people were talking about like a July start for Big Brother. Right. And I kind of think we're already in the second week of July. I don't think it's going to happen.
No, it can't get going before August. I just don't think logistically. Mm-hmm. And so to that point, if it's not going to start till August, no one's in sequester yet, guys.
Yeah, I know.
So if you're watching their Twitter feeds and their Instagram and you're like, oh my God, they've been quiet.
They're just busy.
They're just busy. They're just on vacation. They're just living their lives. No one's in sequester yet.
Right. Yeah. So that doesn't mean anything.
No, but we do know that Dan had the most fun trolling us this week.
Oh my God. He what was it? He said, I've got a special announcement set for this date, because there was already so much speculation. He was one of those people that, you know, they said that he had signed an NDA and this meant that Dan was definitely coming back, and the BB fandom, like, you just need one reason to believe that Dan Giesling is coming back for Big Brother, and people are losing their minds.
We believed it because we wanted it to be true. I mean, he's the first person you think of. You're like, oh, All-Star season, I need Dan. Like, that's just how your brain works. So somebody made it up that he was going to be on it, and the world ran with it.
Believed it.
And then he was like, well, this is fun because Dan is one of the greats. And we saw him mess with people inside the Big Brother house. Like, obviously he's going to do this.
Now
and
he's
I love it
because
now I feel like I'm on Big Brother. Like, he messed with me.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yep.
He said, I'm off all week, taking the week off, schedule all repeats on his Twitch channel. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I have to be honest, even though I don't buy half of the stuff that's happening out there, and I'm pretty sure Dan is not going to be on BB22. Okay. When he said, I'm taking the week off, for a minute, I was like, oh my God. We might have Dan on BB22. Like, it was just so exciting that we might actually have Dan. That it got me. It got me for a minute.
It did, yeah.
And then my husband was like, we're also taking the week off, though. It's just that time of the year. Ooh. And I was like, oh, yeah, it is. It's just that time of the year.
That's a fair point. Yeah. So he took a week off, but he had a special announcement planned.
Yes.
And trolled us in the biggest way possible with this special announcement video.
Beautiful. Chef's kiss to you, Dan. Thank you for that. The video of Kaiser Giesling was amazing. Yes, I loved it. It even had a clip of Jolene, our friend Jolene.
I know.
I mean, and I just have to say, I sent her that screenshot of his schedule. So I'm basically in it with Jolene.
You were in the video.
So that video was amazing. But then his big announcement was just his summer schedule and some new merch.
That's all. Now you're convinced that he's not coming back. I am not. Guys. I think this could be part of the game, right? Yes. And I think a lot of people also want to believe this. I don't know that I necessarily do, but I'm just going to play devil's advocate a little bit here. That he can't come out and say like, yep, you caught me. I'm going to be on BB22, you know, but I don't think that all hope is lost just because he said there was a special announcement and it was just new merch. This could all be part of a long game where he's throwing us off the scent, and now we've fallen for this, and we're now believing that he's not going to be on it, and then he's going to be a part of that cast announcement. Like we said at the beginning of this video, literally anything is still possible, you know?
It's true. It's very true. Again, no one's in sequester yet. So just because I do a live stream being like, not going on the show, that doesn't mean anything. He would absolutely lie to us. They all are supposed to lie to us. So I get it. You could still be like, okay, whatever. I just feel like he went through so much effort to really troll us.
He did,
that I'm going to stick with my guns that he's not going. I already thought that it was going to be really hard to get him. Yeah. You know, he's been removed for years now.
Years.
He's a very successful Twitch streamer. And as we know, as streamers, if you take too much time off, you lose your audience.
Yeah.
And so I don't think the Big Brother audience and the Twitch gaming audience are the same. Like, those are two different audiences. So I don't think going into the BB22 house necessarily helps him with his day job.
Yeah, I think you're right. Now he also has a family, right? Like he had Derek on, right? Or something like they
Yes.
were.
So that's the other part. Like during his Twitch stream, Derek called in. And now we had talked before because I do remember like years ago, and we talked about this in our last rumors video, that Derek said he'd love to do an all-star season, but only if Dan went on.
Yeah, right. Because he wanted to play with the greats. Derek is one of the greats. He doesn't want to play. He already won a regular season of Big Brother. He wants to play with people who are on his level.
Yes. So he called into Dan's show. They both talked about how this just isn't a good time for them. They both have families. Derek has kids as well. Yeah. And it did make me think because, you know, I also would love for Janelle to be on. And she's got a family too. And that doesn't always matter. Like sometimes you're willing to leave your kids. But this is a really weird time to leave your family.
Yes, right.
Are your kids going back to school in the fall? Like, who knows? Can you rely on your parents, their grandparents to help you out while you're gone? You know, it's just like, it's just not as simple as it usually could possibly be for you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So Derek and Janelle, like you say, they were like two additional names of people that, you know, supposedly had signed NDAs. The fourth name that I saw who I guess had signed an NDA potentially is Davon. So thrilled. I will completely buy into that rumor because I want Davon on BB22. So like, I hope that she is in a cast announcement forthcoming.
Of course. She has to be. We talked about this before too. You can't have returning players without Davon. Like it's just impossible. Don't even try to give me a Big Brother without Davon. It's just not, it's not acceptable. Yeah. No. And now Davon hasn't done any like big flashy, I'm not on the show. And
but so that's winks, you know.
Yeah. She's like, I'm at home, guys. What are you talking about? Haha, you guys are so funny. But I'm just here. Like that's different from being like straight up, I'm not going on BB22.
Right. Right. So those are kind of I think those are four names that everybody wants to see on BB22. And that's like you were saying earlier, like that's why people latch onto these names because they're like the ones that are at the tip of your tongue when you talk about an all-stars cast. Davon, I think, is the most realistic of those four, but I literally am not counting anybody out. I'm just not.
Oh, I'm counting most of them out. I'm counting Dan and Derek out. There's no way they're not on it. And honestly, if they're not on it, you can't call it all-stars.
No, listen.
You can call it all-stars. I can't call it all-stars.
You're not going to. Now, when we do a cast react video and Dan and Derek are on the cast, I need you to roll this tape, Sarah, where you say, I'm counting them out.
I have been pretty firm in my whole, like, it's not going to be all-stars, you guys. So if I am wrong, yes, rub it in. Make me pay for it.
We have fun.
Another person who has made kind of a big announcement that they're not going on was Swaggy C. Like he kind of made it a big deal of like, this is a very official. I am not going on BB22. I am building my career as a day trader. Like, I make decent money as a day trader. Like I need to keep that going. And because he made such a big deal, I tend to believe that. Yeah. And I also feel like they invited Bailey and maybe not him. And so it's okay for him to make that big announcement. Maybe. Maybe they were and like, just one of you, maybe.
Yeah. But I think also Frankie, right, said that he is not going to be on.
Yeah, he kind of made it clear, like he didn't want to leave his family during COVID-19, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So he seems like he might not be in it. But again, he could be lying. Yeah. They all could be lying. I don't know.
Now, beyond that, Sarah, I have to say that when you read some names that are out there, it's a little disheartening, at least for me and players that I have responded positively or negatively to. And when I see names like Jack and Jackson and Annalise and Raven, it just very quickly starts to feel like there is no way they can possibly brand this as an all-stars season.
Okay, see, that's my point right there. If they are on the cast, you may not call this an all-star. That's where I have a problem. again, this is why I struggle to believe half of these rumors, because you're throwing in names like that when there's no reason ever that CBS would invite Sis back on the show.
Right?
Like,
I know. I mean, Jackson, like, he won the game. So, like, I guess, you know, you can have him on an All-Stars cast and there's an argument to be made. We just didn't like him as a player.
We'd prefer you not, but there is an argument to be made.
But like Raven, Jack, Sis, these people did not, they weren't America's Favorite House guests. They didn't place in the top 5 even, I don't think. Like, it's just, they are not all-stars.
God, what if they make it into like a heroes versus villains? Oh God, that's the only way that those people could be brought back. Is it being like fan favorites versus the non-fan favorites? They're like, if you repulsed America, we'd like to have you back. No.
But like, gross. Like, please don't produce a heroes versus villains season like that, because I feel like there are people who could be construed as villains that America still liked and enjoyed watching play.
Yeah, like Cody.
Cody, or like even a Vanessa, I think, could be like branded as a villain. I mean, we've talked about like she's probably not going to come back, but like someone like that who played an incredible game, but like was devious and conniving. And those are the kinds of people that I want to see villains, not actual villains who are bad people.
Not people who are problematic. Like, this is not the time to have those people back on. That's why I feel like people are just making things up. And running wild with rumors because there's I think production knows better than that.
I hope so, because it's really like back. when I read those names, I'm gonna be honest, it's like, do I want to watch this? You know, and like production has to be aware of that. Production has to know. They absolutely know like who the most loved house guests were and who the most hated are, and I think they understand that like, if they cast certain people, they are going to be alienating their audience, or a huge chunk of it at least. And they don't want to do that.
I don't know. Yeah. Especially after last summer. Like last summer left a lot of people just kind of like, They didn't even finish the season, some people. And so you kind of have to present something very lovely on the plate to really make sure you get everybody back, you know?
Right.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. But like I've said, we're going to have returning players, whether it's an all-stars or whoever we can just get who's available. That's somewhere in the middle, maybe, hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, some other names, like, not to like harp on all the names that I don't like that I've seen out there, but like I also saw like Gina Marie and Aaron out there. And these are just people like,
but you know that's made up then. There's no way.
How could CBS possibly do something like that? Like, these
I'd be
people
surprised
were so problematic on their original season, and the reasons that they were problematic now are even more amplified now in the moment that we're in. It would be so irresponsible to recast people like that.
I don't even think they'll bring anyone from season 15 just because they don't want to be associated. Like, they want to pretend that season did not exist. Like, I don't even think they would tempt. Like, even like Alyssa, I think is a great person to come back, but I think they're scared to have her because she just would say season 15 and everybody would be like, what happened that season? You know? So that stuff's made up, you guys. Don't believe it. David, don't believe it.
No, it's just like, I think it was like late at night and I was like reading these articles and I started to spiral and I was like, I like turned my phone off and like threw it away from me and was like, am I even going to watch BB22? But you're right. Like, these things are stupid. And like, I have to believe that like CBS is better than that, smarter than that. They're going to cast people that like are actually going to make people excited to watch BB22. That's the goal at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think like if they can't get the Dans and the Derricks, and Janelles, they're going to at least try to get the fan favorites because that's going to be fun.
Right.
Right.
There are names too being thrown around, like you mentioned Bailey already, but like Haley, a lot of the fandom is like talking about wanting to see Haley back. Nicole Anthony, Tyler Crispin, these are players that like people really liked and who I think are like still young enough and in the BB world enough to like be willing to come back during, this COVID-19 pandemic. Like, those are the kinds of players that I think we're more likely to see on the cast list.
Yeah, I think we're going to see the Caitlins and the Bretts because they're not settled down with families. They have flexible jobs because they're influencers slash entrepreneurs. So
Mm-hmm.
they can leave at any time.
Yeah.
Because BB has invited them and just said, we don't know dates yet. And they're like, cool, I'm not doing anything else. It's fine. And then that's who we're going to see on this season.
And it's going to be Big Brother 22. The people who said yes.
Those are the people. You got to shorten it into something shorter, but yes.
Okay.
BB22, the people who were available.
Yeah, say yes to the BB22.
Well, I love it. You think Dan might be coming in? I say
sure.
No.
Yeah,
we're gonna. One of us is gonna win that. I hope like mid-July we can get a cast announcement.
A cast announcement. I mean it's going to be
they'll
here
go into sequester.
Yeah,
and then we'll get that cast announcement. Then I'm hoping.
Yes, I think it's
because
just a matter
oh my gosh, another month of us not knowing.
It's just a matter of can they make these deals, with the different departments and unions and all that stuff. And once that's all settled, like they'll do what they have to do to make, like I've heard of other productions going back very soon in July, and they're all going to quarantine as a production for 2 weeks before they start shooting. Like they're creating their own pods in order to be able to go back into production and have it be safe. So, there are strategies out there that.
Yeah, some productions are basically going to do their own Big Brother house for the crew and the producers. So they won't go home to their families. They will all live together for the duration, and that's how they stay safe, which isn't that big of a, it kind of sounds weird probably to people who aren't in production, but if you were to like go work on Survivor, that's what you do. If you were to go work on a show in Atlanta or Connecticut where some shoot, that's what you do. You go there and you're not with your family for a couple months.
Right.
So it's a doable thing for production.
Possible. Doesn't sound amazing to like have to live with your coworkers.
You're not going to take that job, David?
But I guess some people are willing to do it.
They are, especially if they've been out of work since what?
For sure.
April?
Absolutely.
When a lot of them shut down.
Yep.
You were lucky, David. You got to stay.
I was lucky to have lasted this long.
Yeah. For sure. Okay. Well, we're over. Let's to review. We're optimistic. We will get a BB22 in August.
Yes.
I am not optimistic on the guest, but you might be. You are.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm trying to be optimistic. Yeah. I feel like I'm just going to be the counterpoint to you a little bit. Like you're a little bit more like, oh, who are we going to get? And I'm like, ooh, who are we going to get? I think that's where we're
Okay. It'll be fun to speculate, and I can't wait to actually find out what is happening.
I know. I can't wait to come to you guys with a video of actual information. Like as fun as the speculating is, like you said, it's been a month now. Like I'm kind of tired of talking about like, who is it going to be? Like, just tell us. I'm ready.
Just tell us something. But I understand that they don't have all that info yet. So I get it. I understand. You guys, we are so excited to realize that we just hit our 1-year anniversary of having a Patreon.
Like literally, we just we were like, wait, it's been a year.
I just realized it was on my calendar and I was like, oh my God, we've done this for a year. That's super exciting. We definitely a year ago were like, is anyone gonna patron us? Like this is like weird.
I guess this is just a thing people do. Like, let's try it.
Let's try it.
Like, it's been the support that you guys have given us has really been incredible over the past year.
It's been so wonderful. And there are actually people who have patroned us for a year. So we have to give them a shout out because that is mind blowing and amazing. And we appreciate it so much. Henrique.
Hello.
Thank you for the year. Thank you.
Much. Yes. I believe Adam Parnell.
Thank you, David. Yes. Thank you, Adam. And Teresa Lyons.
Yes. I mean,
thank you,
really,
Teresa.
incredible that you guys have stuck with us for a year, especially in the circumstances. Like, I wouldn't blame anybody for being like, you know what, I love you guys, but like, I got to take a break because finances are tight and the world's weird and this and that. So like, thank you so much, the three of you, for just sticking with us. We really do appreciate it.
We do. Thank you so much. And if anyone wants to join us, we're over there talking about Survivor Heroes versus Villains right now. We're rewatching that, and that's exciting. All right, you guys. Here's to a BB22, right?
It's going to happen. It's going to happen soon.
It's going to happen. It's all manifest in our bladders that it's going to happen.
Thank you, Christy Murphy. Thank you.
Yes. All right, you guys. We'll see you next time.
Okay, bye.
Bye.